Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we're talking about ERA ONE, and I've 10 keys to give away for the game on this video. So if you want in, watch the video, drop a like and leave a comment, preferably related to the video below, to enter. Or just say hello Luke, hello Tom, or whatever takes your fancy really. Then if you win, I will reply to the comment in about a week's time, and you'll have to join our Discord to collect your key. Or you should just join the Discord anyway. I'll leave a link to that in a pinned comment below the video. Good luck to all of you, and it's a real pleasure for me and Tom to give away more games to our awesome followers. I have to say right out the gate that ERA ONE, the more time I've spent with it, the more it started to click with me. It's definitely not just another indie RTS trying to borrow a few ideas from the classics. It's a game that actually understands why those classics worked in the first place, with the scale, the atmosphere, the quiet beauty of ships just drifting through space, and that feeling that you're commanding something much bigger than just another skirmish match. If you've not seen it before, ERA ONE is a space strategy game that blends RTS combat, base building, fleet management, survival elements and tactical battles all into one awesome game. But the real joy with this one is that it doesn't just feel like a total Homeworld clone. It feels like a proper space game. There's a weight and mood to it that instantly sets it apart. And that's the bit for me that makes the Homeworld comparison seem legitimate. During my time with the game, the biggest strength of ERA ONE is just the atmosphere. It's just one of those games where you can absolutely challenge yourself and get deep into the systems, but you can also just sit back for a moment and enjoy the ambience of being out there in space. And you know what? That matters more than people think, because Homeworld was never just about clicking faster than the other guy. It was about mood, scale and immersion, and ERA ONE really gets that. The music in this title is also a massive part of why this game has landed so well with me. I stuck over 10 hours in over the last few days, and even Tom was like, "You're genuinely enjoying this game, aren't you? Because I see you playing it often when I know you're supposed to be doing other things." You know, with the amount of games that come across mine and Tom's laps these days, it's pretty impressive when we play a game just for enjoyment. And this is some of my favourite music in a game for a long time. You've got these classical notes that give the whole thing this grand, almost elegant sci-fi feel, but then you also get tracks with this more electronic cyberpunk energy. It definitely gives the game its own identity, and it helps elevate even the quieter moments when you're just building out your forces. To be honest, building up in this game is actually my favourite part. The combat stresses me out a bit. I mean, it's just so full on, but I mean, yeah, that's definitely fun also. Talking of music, me and my wife just got back from a Youngblood concert, and honestly, it was absolutely awesome. That guy can seriously sing and seriously rock, so if you're into anything like that, you should definitely check him out. Just me going off on a random segue as usual, but hey, I'll get it back to ERA ONE. And I have to say, with this title, it's the immersive little details that count. Watching your resource collectors sitting on an asteroid and doing their work should not be as satisfying as it is, but it absolutely is. That's the stuff that takes me right back to the wonder of first playing Homeworld. It's that sense that space itself is part of the experience, not just the empty arena where combat happens. ERA ONE already has a lot of that magic, and that's why I think it's worth paying attention to, and definitely sticking it on your wish list at least. Right now, ERA ONE is sitting in what the developers describe as a stable build 11 phase, and that includes a solid spread of single player content in there already. You've got scenarios with specific objectives and enemy bases, a more traditional deathmatch mode, survival on huge hazardous maps with limited resources, sandbox variants including enemy wave setups, shipyard mode for experimenting with more advanced shipbuilding, and the increasingly popular War Machine mode, which is all about timed arena duels and carefully configuring your war machine for combat. Build 11 also introduced the first major version of the player AI alongside new maps and War Machine support, which is a big deal because it gives the game more structure and more replayable solo content, while the bigger features are still coming together. The next big step though is multiplayer, and although I can give or take that type of thing, I do know some people absolutely love to have a match against a human opponent. Personally, I try and avoid other humans these days where possible, but hey, that's just me. But with their focus now shifted to Build 12, the current roadmap is pointing to an initial multiplayer beta in June 2026 and a more stable multiplayer release in July. That roadmap also mentions PvP, PvE, LAN and online support, procedural map generation, more deathmatch maps, and some pretty interesting match customization ideas. I think if they pull that off cleanly, it could be the moment where ERA ONE really levels up from promising atmospheric RTS into something with serious long-term staying power. And beyond all this, the really exciting part is the team is not treating multiplayer as the finish line. The roadmap points towards a single player and cooperative campaign later, with mod support and workshop support planned after that, and these are all great additions for the player base. So this is a game that is clearly still expanding outward, though it is in early access, and I know some of you want to stay away, and I do respect that. But if you're someone who can handle early access and can see that they are delivering, I think it's definitely a project you want to keep on your radar. They're not just adding a mode or two here, it's building towards a much bigger overall package. And that's why this game is a watch now rather than later. For me, that single player campaign will be absolutely vital. Although I do greatly enjoy the sandbox modes, nothing really gets you into a Homeworld style game and a great story-based campaign, so I'm excited to see where they take that. And in case you didn't know, me and Tom do like to put the Homeworld music into our videos. We're just absolutely huge fans of that, and many of you respond so strongly when we do it. Now, this is an LT gaming video, and I do appreciate the dev giving us a key giveaway, but we've got to give you the balanced view also. I do think that there's a very fair caveat here, and it's probably the biggest one with ERA ONE right now. As good as the sandbox side of the game already is, it still needs that campaign layer to really excel as a single player experience, as I just discussed. The atmosphere is there, the mechanics are getting stronger, the modes are expanding, but a lot of people are going to want that handcrafted structure and progression that gives all of this a bigger sense of purpose, and I totally understand that. And multiplayer is another part of that equation. It's clearly on the way and officially it is the next major focus, but until it's fully live and stable, there's still a degree of waiting involved. So I think the honest take is this: ERA ONE already feels special in a lot of ways, but some of its biggest selling points are still just ahead of it. That's exciting, but it also means you're still buying into a game that's actively growing. But I think I can at least summarise: if you're into space or Homeworld, it's an instant pickup, and if you're unsure or you don't like early access, it's a wishlist edition. The obvious comparison here is of course Homeworld, and I think that's totally fair, but I also bring in something like Nebula's Fleet Command for the slower, more considered side of space combat. The difference is that ERA ONE feels broader and more cinematic. It's not just about pure tactical engagements, it's also about base building, atmosphere, resource play, and that sense of actually living in the battlefield a bit more than Nebulous. You can definitely also feel shades of older space RTS design in general here. But it's carving out this middle ground where scale, beauty, customization and tactical play all matter at the same time. For me, the big hope now is the developers nail the next phase without losing what already makes the game special. Because that's the opportunity here. The atmosphere is working, the music is working. The ships, the mining, the pacing, the quiet spectacle of it all. That's already doing the heavy lifting in a really impressive way. So if multiplayer lands well and if the campaign layer eventually gives all of this a stronger narrative and progression spine, then I genuinely think ERA ONE could become one of the standout space strategy stories of this whole era. Not just because it copied Homeworld, but because it remembered what made people fall in love with that style of game in the first place. What a beauty of a statement by me, even I enjoyed that one. Nothing like self-praise, Luke. So there we go, ERA ONE has really impressed me this week, and make sure to enter our 10 key giveaway for this title. Like and comment on the video and make sure you're subscribed and join our Discord. I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and I'll catch you all on the next one.